Hi, and welcome to the August Forum. I'm your host, Andrew, and I'll be sharing the stories of fashion industry professionals, creatives, and entrepreneurs about their journeys and experiences as they advance within this ever-growing industry. The August Forum, as an extension of the shop itself, allows you to have the ability to listen to those in the industry. So whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur, trying to break into the fashion industry, or just curious about the ins and outs, we hope these stories will help you to achieve your goals. In today's episode, we feature Isaac Westberg, the lead photographer of the sneaker and streetwear boutique August, located in Madison, Wisconsin. Over the last year, Isaac blossomed into a main staple of the shop and its visual representation of the brand image. Today, we'll learn about Isaac's journey in navigating his own path and using the community around him to grow himself and those same people that lift him up. We'll focus on his work for the shop and the opportunities that have been presented to him through his growth. This is the August Forum. All right, so today on the Zoom call here, I have Isaac Westberg. Isaac, hello, how are you?
I'm good. I'm doing well.
Yeah,
How are you doing?
honestly, getting brisk out a little bit, kind of cold.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
saw my new trench coat today.
I was about to say you have a nice trench coat to aid
Yeah,
you in the
and
in
it
the
is really
cold though.
80. I know. I've been wearing it like all day, just walking around me like, fuck yeah, bro. I got myself a nice trench coat.
I would be doing the same thing.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to tell the people who you are, what you do, maybe 3 words to describe yourself, and then kind of a description of your photography style?
It's a long list, bro. I don't know if I can
I
remember,
know.
but
I know. Right
I'll start
away,
off with
too.
yeah, right. Testing me, bro. My name is Isaac Westberg. I'm from Wausau, Wisconsin. Um, I moved to Madison only a couple of years ago, and I've been loving it so far. Um, yeah. So I when I think of like who I am, I think it's not just the photo side of it. I hang out with my mom. I like hang out with my friends. I play soccer. I want to get into clothing, but most of the time these days, my time is spent making images for August and for personal work too. 3 words to describe myself,
Yeah.
man. Dude, these are hard. I was told from you I'm charismatic, which I appreciate. We'll
No,
go
no,
with
no.
number
We'll
one.
cut the audio on that one right there.
No, no, no. We're gonna keep that in there, bro. I don't like. I hope I'm charismatic though. That's sweet. I would consider myself caring as well. I think I care about the world I'm in and the people I'm around. And then physically lengthy. I've been told I'm the lengthy boy.
You
So
are a very lengthy boy. You and Hayden are like the lengthiest boys.
Hayden is, dude, that guy's huge.
Yeah, he is. Like standing next to you two, like together is just like I feel so tiny.
I hope you feel protected.
I am feel
That's how I
I
hope you
feel
feel.
very protected. I feel like, oh, I have nothing to worry about around these two.
That's my
Like
mission whenever I'm around you is just like
you're like a pillar I could stand behind, being like, oh, no one will see me behind Isaac Westberg.
that's awesome, bro. Rob should give me that title.
Yeah.
Pillar of August Shop.
Well, you're basically more or less kind of now a creative. I think a lot of people know you as kind of a photographer, but you really are just a creative in the Madison space. Everyone really knows you as like this really, I'm gonna say the word again, but this really creative guy. But how did your love for like fashion, streetwear from like an early age aid you to not only want to become a photographer and like shoot for brands like, Kid Super that we'll get into, but be a creative and kind of now go into this more fashion industry space and all the stuff you're doing here?
Yeah. So I guess we could start that off. It's kind of a long question too.
Yeah. Sorry.
I had to write down some notes on it because I was like, it's a lot. But in terms of like fashion, dude, I'm not big into like fashion like in a
Mhm.
traditional sense, like runway designer stuff. Like I enjoy it just as much as anyone who works at a clothing store, but I wouldn't say I'm like I have no expertise, you know. But I definitely love like design. Like I love beautiful things, whether they operate beautifully or they look beautiful. And I've always cared about how I look. I think I've always been interested in, you watch movies as a little kid and you're like, oh, I like how that person dresses or this artist that I look up to. I think that's pretty natural. But I think like my real like what really ignited my interest in design was soccer cleats. I remember like when I was a kid, I got a pair of like Superfly threes, like the all orange pair,
Yeah.
and I was so geeked. Like I don't know, I didn't really understand that like everyday items or items that you're using for sports could be so cool and look
Hmm.
so great. And after that, I was just like every year when it came around Christmas time, I'd be like scouring the internet looking for sales or coupons, whatever, to get like a nice pair of cleats. Like I loved it. I was obsessed with cleats. I'd stay up to date on the newest releases. And then that was like my introduction to like brands, I guess, because like
Yeah.
back then, like Nike was killing all like the Superflies and Vapors, and then Adidas
Hmm.
was doing like the F50s, and like I still want, like when I'm older, I still want to get into collecting old soccer cleats. So
That's dope. I was a Tiempo guy growing up.
those are fire.
I always had the Nike Tiempos, especially the ones with like the nice leather.
Yep, yep.
What are the other ones like the Copas? I think those were the ones that R9 Ronaldo had. I think those ones were really dope. Do you know?
The Copa Mundial. I think that's like
Yeah,
the Adidas equivalent of the Tiempos low key. Those are awesome too.
oh, those not. I can't even think about. I don't even. Yeah, I haven't thought
Yeah,
about cleats in like such a long time. But
yeah,
being from Wausau, being from such a like a more Wisconsin town and
yeah.
stuff like that, how do you find yourself like kind of operating as a creative, especially as like, a lot of people that we know come from the Midwest, come from Wisconsin, in towns that not many people know what fashion and kind of this whole creative space is. How did you kind of like not differentiate yourself or separate yourself from that, but how did you find your own footing?
That's a great question. Find my footing. I think like I had a few friends back home. My homie Aloy, he and I we were kind of alone in it. I
Hmm.
think like in high school, like we started liking when we were like Supreme right around like 2014, 2015, like beginning of high school for us. And I think no one like really understood it other than us, so we enjoyed it almost like in our lonely kind of, like we would get hype about it, but yeah, like there's not a community that supports streetwear or supports people who are interested in streetwear. So the internet had a big play in it, Instagram, watching the rappers that we liked, how they dressed, and that influenced me a ton as a kid.
Was there like any like rapper that you saw you were like, that's who I kind of like not base
For
my
sure.
style off of? Yeah, who'd you have?
Yeah, I got fashion tips from like not even like a huge Ferg fan, but like ASAP Ferg. I loved how he dressed when I was younger. A lot
The
of like
whole
the ASAP
ASAP,
dudes.
all the ASAP mob, I think is like
Yep.
huge in terms of like our generation of streetwear.
Yeah, and like any there's a lot of like New York dudes that I really looked up to, especially around that time. Like the Flatbush Zombies, like Eric the architect, like he kind of put me onto like Carhartt, which is now
Hmm.
like just a normal thing. But I think in New York back then it was like that what was hot. Like that's what was hot like 5, 6 years ago.
You know what's crazy is like I just talked to Kyle, which will be the next episode after you, but he like would go to the Flatbush Zombies concerts before they were really known as
Yep.
Flatbush Zombies and just like really operate in a small space in New York. So it's like really interesting to see
Damn.
that like the
I
reach
gotta
that
talk to him about that. That's
I know
fire. I'm a huge
you
fan.
I was gonna say you guys should really like connect and talk about that because he
Yeah.
like loves them and it's weird to see and like interesting to see like that New York culture kind of coming and sweeping almost across America, like kind of coming through as all those trends kind of come through. Do you kind of find that to be true?
Oh, absolutely. Everything that's
Yeah.
hot there is hot here like 3.5 years later,
Oh yeah,
4 years
absolutely.
later.
Carhartt hot right now. Slowing
Yeah,
down a little
Carhartt
bit.
like dominates, but
Yeah,
no, but if you go into like a vintage shop, like no Detroit is gonna last more than like
that
a
is
week
true.
or whatever. They all just fly.
Mm,
Um,
that's a
Rightfully
good
so.
point.
They're a comfy jacket, they're warm. This is the perfect climate for it. So
Yeah, Midwest is like the perfect place to be for Carhartt, honestly.
definitely. Like
But
my first Carhartt purchases were inspired by Eric, the architect from Flatbush. Like
really,
I remember like watching him wear like watching his he did like I think he streamed his him producing
yeah,
or like even just in interviews, and I was like, damn, that's like
that's a sick
that's
ass jacket.
because my dad does construction, so like
Hmm.
growing up I always saw Carhartt, but I never thought of it in like a fashionable sense.
So it's almost like you
Then
then again saw it as like these everyday items again being able to be fashionable.
yeah, I was like 17 and I was like, damn, this is super hard. Like I don't know, I felt weird wearing it, but I also loved it, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, okay, the first time I got to know you and like the first time I even like ever really found out who you were, just as a creative, as this guy that really is like almost not dominating the Madison space in terms of creativity, but just like really has like his footing down was your application for the Nike craft test wear for Tom Sachs. Can you
Hmm.
speak upon how important a video like that, the one that you made, was integral for you to like be able to stick to your own brand, basically?
Yeah. That video was like infinitely important to me.
Yeah.
Um, More so than the opportunity that it gave me. It was a huge lesson in my
Mm-hmm.
life. Around that time, I I wasn't doing anything creative for money.
Mm-hmm.
I was mainly doing everything for hobby. I was developing film just for myself. I was taking photos just for myself. I was doing all that, just yeah, like I said, like as a hobby. And then I remember Tom posted the announcement video, I guess, on
Mm-hmm.
I think it was December 23rd. And then he said like by the 31st at midnight, all the video submissions are due. And then I guess I can give a breakdown of what it was, if for anyone that doesn't know. It was Tom Sachs is like a contemporary artist, sculpturalist, does a lot of different art related things. He's killing it right now. But he lives in New York City. He operates his own studio there, and he collaborates with I think he collaborates with like NASA regularly.
Yeah, it's like him, NASA. He does like all their shit in terms of like
Yeah.
he like uses their materials in his own
Yep.
like artwork and then like
Yep.
kind of brings that sense of art to Nike too, which is pretty fucking sick.
Yeah, and so he did he's made shoes with Nike for like a very long time, which is crazy because when I was like younger, I remember this dude named Sam Sheffer posted a video reviewing his first pair, and I
Mm-hmm.
remember like the box had like a fake duct tape that you had to like the box was like duct taped, which is like very utilitarian, very Tom Sachs. And this is like 2015, 16. Now those shoes are worth like 20 grand, or I don't even know, something insane. Might be less than that, might be more. And I remember thinking at the time, like, damn, those are sweet. Like, what are
Mm-hmm.
those? And then 4 or 5 years later, I get to be a part of a program where they're wear testing. It was the what is it? The Nike Craft. Wait, I gotta get this right. Hold on.
Was it the Mars Yard? It was the Mars Yard,
It
wasn't
was
it?
there's the full name is like the Nike Mars Yard 2.5.
Yeah.
So I'll do that one over. Like 5 years later, I'm wear testing the Nike Mars Yard 2.5. Um, which is like is wild to think about. But I had to turn in with a week. I remember I didn't have a video camera. I hadn't shot a real video in like 10 years. I didn't have a computer that could handle video editing, and I didn't have a hard drive to hold all that video.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I literally couldn't have done it without my friend Jack Duffy back home. We were just in our hometown for winter break, and I hit him up immediately, and I was like, "Dude, I need to apply for this." Like, it felt like a calling. Like it was literally like an invitation to work with one of the artists you've looked up to since you were, I don't know, 15, 16.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I grinded for that week. And like I said, I hadn't made a video in so long. Like I storyboarded it all. I I wanted to add all these elements I needed to make a video that I was really proud of. It ended up getting pushed back. Like I did as much as I could the first 5 days,
Yeah.
but also like knowing my personality, like I waited until last minute a little bit, and there was 2 days where like Jack and I took turns sleeping. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we were just grinding on this video, and I ended up turning it in an hour and a half late and an hour and a half past the deadline. And I was like, I remember I almost quit a few times. The hard drive failed on us; it wouldn't turn on for like an hour and a half. I was sitting there like replugging it in, letting it cool down, whatever. And I, like lucky enough, the video was good, and I got accepted. And it was like a total lesson that everything was going wrong, and I just pushed through. And I don't know, I felt so relieved when I got accepted. There's a video of me somewhere on Jack or my phone where like I got the Instagram DM from
Yeah.
Tom Sachs, and I like jump up and down, and I'm FaceTiming him, and I'm just like super hyped. Like
So
it was crazy.
you got the pair. What were some things like, I think a lot of people knew that that was happening, but was there anything specific like after you received and you knew you were going to be a test wearer that you had to do and you had to kind of accomplish?
Yeah, I think there was meetings every single Monday morning at 9 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Where funny enough, this is like another lesson, I guess. But I like during the meetings, I remember Sam Sheffer, the dude that was unboxing that original pair, was in the wear
Oh,
tester program. So I
oh,
like
really?
saw him. Yeah.
It's like you watching him like what, 5 years before you
Yeah.
became like a wear tester.
Yeah, yeah. And then now we're kind of doing the same shit. It was amazing. But yeah, we'd have meetings every Monday at 9 a.m. Um, and we had to track the essentially how good the shoes are.
Mm-hmm.
We had to give recommendations. We had to critique the build, the materials, the sewing, what chafed on our foot, what part of our foot hurt after a long day of wearing them. I was only allowed to wear them those are the only shoes I was allowed to wear. Like I could have worn other ones, but I wasn't gonna let myself, and they didn't want us to. I wore it for like 6 months straight,
Holy
something like that.
shit. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
like there were days I really wanted to wear other shoes, whether it was raining or snowing, but that was a part of the process. And it was such a fun little journey to go on. And I'm still in touch with some of the people who were doing it as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure if I ever or when I'm hoping to, but when I meet Tom, it'll be a great a little nod, and like we could have a nice conversation about it.
Hey, I wore your shoes for fucking 6 months straight, bro. I got calluses and blisters, but I still wore those.
Dude, it sucks because I got a half size too big too. So I
You're like
was tying those things
stomping.
so hard
Oh my
every day. Like I was
God.
like, dude, these are the shoes that I have to wear for the next half year or whatever it might have. I don't know, 4, 5, 6 months. Regardless, it was a lot of wearing, and they did not fit me. They were a little too big.
And did you have to send them back?
Yeah, yeah. At the end of it, we sent them back, and I was
What was
sad.
I was gonna say, did you have like an emotional attachment at
Of
the end of
course I
it?
did, bro. Of course I did. Like my
Like
feet had made an
formed.
imprint on the soles. Like the sole, you could see where my toes were and shit. Like my feet were made for those shoes at that point.
Yeah. I mean, hey, that happens. I mean, you say you're pretty grateful that you got to like again, you said that was the first thing that you really did, that you weren't doing almost like again, you were doing it for yourself, but really you had a really proper goal in mind. Are you feeling
Yeah.
like do you feel really appreciative that you were able to do that for those six
So
months?
appreciative.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. It was the one of the most important times of my life creatively.
My conversation with Isaac was one filled with joy and charisma, and that is exactly how I would describe Isaac, as someone who you'd want to talk to for hours and who would still be invested in your conversation. That speaks to his character as a person, and having that skill set grants him to portray the confidence in getting those opportunities many people in his position are vying for. To him, though, creating and being creative isn't a hobby of his, but an instinct that he has. From the first time I was introduced to Isaac with his work for Tom Sachs, he always has been someone I've admired to have that instinct to be creative. But his instinct stems from his character, which is a depiction of having to do it to get it. We all know someone like that. Someone who once they put their mind to something, they are indefinitely pursuing it. It might even be you, but Isaac's drive to constantly work is the reason why he's been presented with these moments to work with professionals in the industry. I've talked a lot before about generating your own brand and being unique in your own sense. This echoing theme is crucial to everyone in this industry, as we all want to separate ourselves from others, and Isaac did just that. He generated his own style and vision of his work, but his knack of wanting to grow grants him the opportunity to improve with his work.
I mean, moving on then to another video that you made. You're the lead photographer at August. I think a lot of people know you as that, but something that you did before you even got to start working there is that you made a video for Rob, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I made it for the shop. Jack Duffy again, we worked on it together. I couldn't have done it without him. Yeah, so I guess before moving to Madison, I always was looking for a community. I was aware of August. I wanted to
Mhm.
work there. I
Mhm.
honestly just wanted to be like a sales associate. I didn't really care, but
Yeah.
it was hard to get at the time. There was no hiring. That was during COVID. They didn't need me. But I wanted I wanted to put my foot in the door somehow.
Yeah.
And this opportunity to make a video for a fashion magazine here in Madison called Moda came
Mhm.
along. I got an email. I didn't even see the email. I think someone else told me about it, and they were like, "Yo, you should do this." As a student, I didn't check my emails, bro. Like that's on me. I should have been more aware, but luckily someone let me know, and I was like, okay, damn. So I checked it out. I looked at it, and I was like, maybe August will be on the list. So I signed up. I sent more my portfolio or whatever,
Mhm.
and they sent back the list. And there's this list of like 6 or 7 shops
Yeah.
here in town, and I was looking for August, and no one had checked that one. Like 3 of them were checked, 3 of them were unchecked, and I was like, damn, how did no one grab August? So I signed up right away.
Yeah.
I remember like calling my mom like the next day, being really excited and being like, "There's this cool opportunity," and we did the video. It turned out really hard, actually. I like rewatched it the other day to put it on my website, and I was like, damn, this is kind of fun. I think it's a little cringe because I've improved since then, but like I still like the overall video. And from that, I got a job opportunity to start shooting. So that was another pivotal moment in my artistic career.
Jack Duffy's always with you in those pivotal moments, huh?
The goat, the goat, bro.
Shout out Jack.
Shout out Jack.
Shout out Jack. So you've had so many like great like opportunities while you've been like being able to shoot at August and work for Rob. What's like a couple rewarding opportunities you've earned through your time there so far?
So many, dude. My whole time spent working there has been its own rewarding opportunity. I've met like like countless friends.
Yeah.
I've made countless friendships and met awesome people throughout the whole process. I got to go to Paris with Rob. Luckily, he's another goat in my life. I don't know, that I owe so much to him at this point. I work hard for him, and he gives me opportunities back.
Mhm.
And I really appreciate that, because I don't think there's a lot of bosses slash employers that do that kind of thing. But yeah, I went to Paris, I went to New York, not with August, but I definitely wouldn't have been able to go to New York and meet all the people that I did unless I had made the connections prior. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, you went to Paris with Rob. It was that this past summer. What was that kind of experience like for you? Just kind of like almost like following him around and seeing how he almost operates in the space.
Yeah, it was super eye-opening. I got to see the reality of what it's like to own a shop, all the people you connect with, all the things that you are responsible for.
Mhm.
It helped me understand Rob and August as a business. That was insight that I didn't know I needed to learn, or whatever. Like it helped me form my understanding of working for a shop, and the industry as a whole. And then it also, opened my eyes to the fashion world a little bit more. I wasn't
Mhm.
super keen on it. I've never been, as I kind of mentioned earlier, like the fashion world is kind of a mystery to me. And I got to see how it goes, see how fashion like runways, shows like operate. Um, yeah, it offered me a ton of opportunities. So
Just kind of like at a really eye-opening, like not really changing your perspective, or like kind of almost like widening your scope of
yeah,
fashion and kind of the space that we all operate in. And do you kind of use that now as someone that's like really trying to dive into fashion a little bit more?
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, it made me feel super confident too. Like it
Hmm.
gave me a good understanding of, if I'm going to be doing photo and video in this realm, like this is how it works. You have to make
Hmm.
certain connections. You have to, not that you have to present yourself a certain way, but there are formalities to that world that you only can understand if you experience it first.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and it was super exciting. I felt like creatively recharged on my way back, and it was a lot of fun.
Nice. So you've now worked runways, products, concerts, portraits. You've done basically all of it here. Looking at the acclamation of your work, like how would you describe your style and the importance of like finding your own personal style when it comes to shooting and being a photographer slash videographer?
Oh man, big question again. My own style, dude. I haven't been shooting for too long. I started doing film photography on my own in 2019. So in 2019, I bought a developing kit, a scanner, all that stuff. But I was only shooting for myself, and I was having a great time. And I think that work had a certain style to it. And then if you fast forward, what is that, 3 years now? I'm doing photography professionally full time. And my style has changed a lot. I've improved a lot, my technique, my approach, my technical ability. But I'd like to think that my style it'll be ever changing.
Yeah.
I'd like to progress. I don't want to get stuck doing one thing. It's definitely if my style, like the derivatives, like a lot of it comes from film photography. Even when I do digital, I started with film. So that's where my interest lies. And that's where I kind of like built my photography sense.
Yeah.
So film for sure impacts it. I really want to get more into like narratives, use my photography to share stories. But like really my style will change depending on the subject too. Like I'm not going to shoot a runway the exact same way that I'm going to shoot. Like if I go home for Christmas, I want to photograph my parents in my, or like my mom at Christmas, whatever. I'm at her house. Like I'm not going to stylize it the same way I'm going to stylize like a kid's super runway. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
It depends on the subjects, but regardless, I think I don't know. I just want to make sure it's ever changing and ever growing, more importantly.
Do you find yourself almost like looking, kind of like scouring the internet for like new ways you want to maybe edit your photos, maybe?
Dude, all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. Yeah, because I get so bored. I do it so much now that I get bored of my own work. Like if it's boring, I'm disappointed in it. And I love other kinds of art too, like photography. I wouldn't really consider myself a quote unquote like photographer. I started with painting. I started with drawing. I started with, I don't know, you could go back to like building Legos. Like when I was younger, I used to like want to design Lego sets, So like my brain isn't necessarily, I'm not, like, it's not associated with a camera as much as it's associated with like trying to produce something that I imagined. Yeah. Like I love artists that are like mixed media specialists, like I like to do, I don't know if you pay attention to my photography, you can see that like I'll print photos out and tear them up and then tape them back together. I'll add texture. I'll draw on them. I'll write on them. I'd love to do more and more and more of that. It's a little hard with commercial work, but in my personal work, I definitely want to get more into like mixed media. And I don't know where I was going with this.
But I mean, I can kind of I think everyone can get a gauge that you're just not only changing as time goes on, but you take inspiration from just not everything.
Oh yeah.
Not just photographers who are behind a camera, but
bro, I discovered Pinterest the other day. I'm not even kidding. This is not a joke.
No way you just discovered Pinterest.
I knew what Pinterest was like growing up, but dude, I got an account like maybe 2 months ago, changed the game. That place is crazy. People go hard. Like you find the hardest photos on there. I thought Instagram was a good source of inspo / things to like study, but no, Pinterest has awesome work.
So much. Yeah. I remember you showed me
nuts.
Yeah, algorithm, like you can just like go through and click that little like logo and it'll refresh the entire page like it's nothing.
Oh damn, I didn't even know that. You can press the logo.
You can press the logo, it'll refresh you and you'll find so much. But I remember you showing me like your Instagram save, being like, yeah, this is all the shit that like
oh my God.
Yeah. Do you still use that to this day? Do you still take that?
Bro, yeah. Yeah, I could flex on my Instagram save section. I won't even gatekeep, bro. I'll show you all the photos that inspire me.
Dude,
I have the hardest save section.
The first time we met, you're like, bro, you should just look at this. And I was like,
yeah,
this is the first time we ever talked. You're like, just look at this. And I was like,
it's a flex, bro.
It's so cool. Flex. It was dope. But I mean, as you're saying that you want to ever change, you want to keep growing with your style, do you think like August helps you be able to do that? Do you think like Rob giving you kind of this creative freedom to do that really helps you try new things at shoots?
Yeah, definitely. I think Rob can be a tough critic, which is great. I love like that's kind of
absolutely
like with soccer growing up. I loved a coach that could not only criticize you, but kind of lead you in the right direction. I think he was in the beginning, he'd be super straightforward with me to the point where I was like, damn, Like, all right,
Yeah.
I appreciate that. You know, he'll be like, what is this doing in the photo? And I'm like, I thought it was funny. He's like, yeah, cut that. I was like, oh, okay, all right. And I appreciated that. You know, he helped me whittle that down a few times, but more so than critique slash taste, I think the frequency at which I need to do photos, because I'm doing 5, 6, 7 shoots a week,
Yeah.
means that I need to constantly change. I need to constantly get better. There's only so many ways you can shoot an Air Force One, you know, before it feels like the same shoot. So I, you know, like you said, or like you asked, like having Pinterest up and all that, that really does help. You can spark. You can be like, oh, what if we add fruit? Not that I've never added fruit really to a shoot, but like that was the first
If
example
someone
that
wanted
came to
to,
mind.
yeah.
Yeah. Like sometimes you just need a foreign influence, something that you haven't seen before, haven't done before.
And you're someone that
yeah,
like really like is very what's the best way to put it? It's kind of like you're okay with that. You're okay that you take inspiration from foreign places that, you know, I feel like a lot of people when they hear getting inspiration from like social media platforms like Instagram and Pinterest kind of automatically think like you're doing the same thing as everyone else is doing. But you kind of
I
almost see that.
mean, yeah, that's a good question. Sorry, I kind of cut you off. Got excited to answer it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, but I'm asking for you is like, how do you combat that? Yeah, it's kind of like, how do you
Sure,
combat like that whole thing?
sure.
Because I think for me personally, I think a lot of people would agree. It's like you have a very, you know, distinct style, but you are someone that gets foreign inspiration. So how do you kind of combat that kind of narrative almost? I know it's kind of a heavy question. If you need to take your time, to
Combat
like,
the narrative. I don't combat the narrative. If someone thinks something, that's fine.
yeah,
I don't make it for anyone but me. So like, you know, if
yeah.
you came up to me and you were like, bro, like this is garbage or whatever, like I
If I
don't
came up to you,
care,
I was
bro.
like, hey,
Like,
bro, I saw this somewhere else actually.
yeah, I mean, I would hope that wouldn't be the case because I try my best not to be a copycat, bro. That's not who I am. That's not who I want to be. Sometimes it is fun to like recreate an image in your own way. There's no shame in that. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with taking inspiration. You look at anyone on the street. How many people do you see a day wearing North Face puffers? Do you ever call them out and be like, yo, you only bought that because that's socially acceptable and it looks good? No, that'd be weird, bro.
That'd
Like,
be
yeah, that's
weird.
what everyone does. Like,
You go up to
it,
every single fucking person on the
yeah,
street. That's
and how
like,
many people a day do you hear, or like how many artists a day do you hear making the same exact song? Just okay, whatever. Like, focus on yourself, bro. Like, make something you like instead of like critiquing others.
just
But
because you think you've heard or seen it before, basically.
no one's original. You're not gonna be original until you're like 90 and you've tried everything and you're like, all right, my brain is finally ready to do something new. Like, you're not gonna be original. I'm not, you're not. Like, that's okay. You try to add your personality into your project and hope that it works and hope that your personal experience shines through. If you think hard about if you think hard enough about a project and you try really hard, you will create something that feels new,
Yeah.
that feels personal, but it's never going to be truly like individual.
Yeah. How do you, I mean, you shoot with, we have a photography team. We have your friends, the community that you kind of surround yourself with almost like helps each other out and supports you and you support them. How important is that to you as someone that, you know, is growing and always learning?
Yeah. Dude, having a good team with you, having people that you can rely on, that you can speak to, super important.
Yeah.
It's wildly important. You know, I talk to a lot of friends every day. I make a lot of FaceTime calls. We discuss shoots, we discuss ideas. It's so helpful.
Yeah.
I love the community aspect of this. I like the friendly competitiveness. I like being able to compete with my fellow August photographers, you know. It really helps you out.
Yeah. Do you like try to help them out as much as they basically also help you out? Like if let's
Bro,
say
I make calls to my homies being like, yo, what are you doing right now? Like, you need to work. Like, I'm not even kidding. I call my homies day in and day out, be like, what are you trying to do, bro? What's your
what are you doing,
dream?
bro?
Let's get it. Like, I'll
Yeah.
help you. I swear, at least twice a week, I make a phone call. That's not easy, but like, I'm trying to wake something up inside of them that needs to be woken up. And sometimes they do that same shit to me. And it's so important to have friends that really care about your interests, not for their own like personal like gain, but just for you, or like just for them, whatever. You need to have people that look out for you, and you need to look out for others. If they're your friends, you'll do that.
Damn, that's deep. You got deep on that one.
Yeah, bro.
I
I'm
hope
crying over here.
I hope I never
Tearing
get a
up.
call from you from. I hope I never get a call from you, bro. That'd be upsetting.
I'd be like, Andrew, your voice is real silky on the mic, but you got to work on this.
You got to work on this, bro. You got to work on that.
In my attempt to give as little bias as I possibly can, August and Rob have given creatives such as Isaac and the photography team to showcase their work to brands in the industry and grant them a platform to present their skill sets. In a previous episode, I talked with Rob about the storefront and brand, but as someone who shared a room with Rob in France, Isaac has learned a lot from him. His relationship with Rob and the community he built around him aids him in his growth. I would describe Isaac like a sponge, as he soaks up as much experience and knowledge as he possibly can from his surrounding community. We all surround ourselves with those with our best interests, or at least we try to. The community Isaac and many others surround themselves with are those that do have each other's best interests. Not only do they support his work, but he supports their work and uses his skill sets to aid in their own improvement. Isaac, as someone who grew up in a smaller community-based town such as Wausau, uses his unique position in Madison to aid fellow creatives to advance within their own work.
Now, kind of moving past August and specifically your time in August, you've been able to shoot for New York Fashion Week with Kid Super, and then also like the Backseat Lovers, which is fucking nuts as well. What was like the process of like reaching out to those people and kind of like how that all came into like fruition?
Yeah. All those have been, I feel super like blessed. I don't know if that's the right word, but I feel super blessed to have worked with them. I guess it's like, it's really kind of because of social media, like trying to use it as a tool. I've made a lot of connections through Instagram. Like, it's kind of crazy to think about. Like growing up in Wisconsin, my mom's a teacher. My dad's like he owns his own little construction business. Like, I didn't have any connections. I didn't know anyone in the fashion world. I don't even know anyone who does photos professionally. I didn't have a nice camera growing up. So you kind of have to use your resources, and that's how I see the internet a lot of the time. You are a DM away from your favorite artist. Whether they notice you is a different factor, and whether they like your work is another thing as well. But like, the internet really is like, it's like a wall-less land. It's borderless, like you really can do whatever you want at any point. That's part of the reason I got to work with Kid Super. I contacted the Backseat Lovers a while ago over Instagram. Like, you really got to shoot your shot, believe in yourself, and be confident. Like, I wasn't feeling super confident when I hit the Backseat Lovers up, but I'm so happy that I did it. And like, it made me so much more confident now, knowing that I can work with them and I can make photos that they love and they use. And I don't know.
I mean, going specifically, we'll probably touch on both your time and experiences with Kid Super and Backseat Lovers. So first, we're going to go kind of into Kid Super. You went to New York. It was you, Hayden, Oscar, and I think August Broughton. You guys all went.
And Aloy.
And
damn,
Aloy.
you got 4 for 5 though. That's good, bro. You studied up.
I 4 for 5. I study up. What was that trip like? Like, how was it shooting for Kid Super? I mean, it's pretty fucking nuts that you did that. So,
dude, it was wild, bro. It was wild. It's like going to his shows, going to his events is like a room full of wildly talented people, a lot of clouded up people. It's strange, man. Like, I got to photograph like Kenny Mason he performed a few verses there, and like, I love Kenny Mason's music, and like, just he's just there casually.
Just showing
portraits of him in front of the paintings, and I was like, "What's up, dude?" And he's quiet and whatever, and like, it's a weird world. New York was awesome though. Shout out to that group. That was a very fun group. My advice to the listeners is go to New York with a group of friends and just say fuck it and go do whatever you want to do. It was awesome. Kid Super was definitely like one of the things I was that was probably the thing I was looking forward to the most. Like if I wasn't able to shoot that though, I don't know that I would have really had the motivation to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, while you were in New York, you kind of also took that opportunity to shoot other, brands and kind of network yourself. And you kind of
Yeah.
talk about like how you didn't grow up with like those resources of like the nice cameras, no connections going into it. What was that like for you? Kind of, going there and like really putting your foot in the door as much as you possibly could.
Yeah, and I don't want to make that sound, by the way, like I'm like pitying myself. Like I grew up with a great childhood, like it
I
was
mean, yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
But
I mean,
like,
like, it's not the
yeah,
same as someone, who, grew up in the industry and stuff like that. And
yeah, yeah,
no, it's no shame on them, but we
yeah,
both have different experiences from them. So
for sure. Yeah,
no
I just
worries on
wanted
that.
to add a little disclaimer. Like I'm
Yeah.
not boo-hooing myself. Like I have a super lucky life and all that shit. But um, remind me your question.
Too busy with the disclaimer. Yeah. So I was just asking, like, you shot Kid Super, but you also were there. You were also kind of like connecting, networking with other
Oh,
people,
yep.
with other brands. Like, what was that like
Yeah.
for you?
Yeah, yeah. So okay, I guess like tying that into the childhood thing, like yeah, when you don't have connections your whole life,
Mm-hmm.
um, you're really hungry to like work. Like I'm very hungry all the time. My head's in the game a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And when you go to New York, and you don't know anyone, you have to learn to present yourself. Like I kind of present myself how I am right now. I think
Yeah.
I'm pretty like I come off kind, which I think I am. I come off semi-confident, which I think I am. And like, I just like try to be as genuine as possible. But
Mm-hmm.
the thing is like introducing yourself to everyone. That's the
Yeah.
thing is, hey, like I start off with at Fashion Week, everyone's dressed up. So you start off with a, hey, may I take a photograph of you? You look really good tonight. They get all, they're like, oh, hell yeah, like
Yeah.
awesome. Then they're
Thanks,
like, yo,
bro.
could I grab your Instagram so I can get that photo? Then they see the Instagram. Then they're like, what do you do? And then I'm like, oh, you can look at the Instagram. Here's some, like basically a portfolio.
Yeah. That's how
And
is that how you use your portfolio? Kind of like,
so I have a legit portfolio that I can
mm-hmm.
send as a link. I have a website now that has all my favorite photographs on it. I recently did that. Um, Squarespace sponsor me. And then I haven't, yeah, my Instagram's a really good reflection of some of the best work that I have. Although I haven't been posting that much lately. I should be continuously updating it with my favorite stuff.
Mm-hmm. I mean, now kind of going into something that was a big decision for you. You recently started to pursue being a creative in the space as almost like a full-time position, really taking up a lot of shoots for August and doing a lot of these like, freelance works. What
Sure,
was
yeah.
your mindset though for like leaving school? Because that was a big decision you had to do is you had to leave school to pursue this. And can you kind of describe the struggle you faced when you decided to go down that avenue?
Yeah. Um, dude, it was gut wrenching. Honestly, it was a really tough emotionally and it was tough emotionally. Like there was a lot of stress around it.
Mm-hmm.
Talking to my mom and talking to my dad constantly. And the thing is, I knew since I was like 17, I knew I didn't want to go to college.
Yeah.
I know the kind of brain that I have, I guess. Like I know what suits me, how I operate
Mm-hmm.
best, and the kinds of things that I want to pursue. And I never felt like I should go to college just yet. I felt like I should have. I don't know. That's like it's one of the things I would I kind of regret is like I think I should have gone harder at art
Mm-hmm.
earlier. But yeah, at 21, 20, no, at 22, I eventually dropped out. So I only have like a year left in college. So if I ever want to come back, I guess I could. But I ended up just committing to it. I felt like I was good enough at my job that I could succeed
Mm-hmm.
elsewhere and I would be more fulfilled. A lot of my time at school was spent stressing over shit that I didn't care about. And it's not like I don't love to learn. I loved the classes, but I just felt like I could not commit. All I was thinking about was doing photos. All I thought about was making clothes, making videos. And I couldn't sit down in a physics lecture and like commit 3 hours of the day, 2, 3 times a week. Like, I don't know, dude. It was rough, but I'm really happy that I I stepped away, and you can always go back to school if you really want.
It was almost like, but you yourself realized in that state of your life at that point, it wasn't for you. You knew that it
Mm,
wasn't going to be, you couldn't commit to it. And that's kind of you, where you are going to be fully committed to something if you're really going to go for it. Do you kind of
exactly.
agree with that? You agree with
Yeah.
that? Yeah.
Yeah. Commit to who you are, believe
Mm-hmm.
in who you are. And I don't know, don't like, I really wanted to stay in school just because of my family. They
Mm-hmm.
obviously they want me to stay in school. And like, I think I let that make me stay in school longer than it should have. I should have
Mm-hmm.
listened to my gut a little bit better. And
Yeah.
I feel like every time I do listen to my gut, I always end up doing better. Like you gotta trust yourself when you
Yeah.
think you know what you're doing.
Like bet on yourself, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And as someone that shoots quite often, you again shoot 5 to 7 times a week. Like, what advice do you have for someone that like maybe has plateaued in their own work, and how do you kind of try to be continuously innovative with your own personal work?
That's a deep one, like I'd say like go to therapy, bro. Talk to your mom, talk to yourself, journal.
Hmm.
The sooner that you get to know who you are and like what you're good at, what you're bad at, what you really want,
Hmm.
that helps you creatively.
Yeah.
I think if I get stuck in a rut, if I plateau, it's because I'm not asking the questions that need to be asked, and it's because I'm not facing something that needs to be addressed, right? So
Mm-hmm.
with photos, I get sick of it, and I'll think why am I dreading this work? Why do I hate this? Why do I blah blah blah? And like usually it's like, oh, I'm not being grateful enough. So you sit
Mm-hmm.
down and you think about how awesome this job is. Like I love it. It's full time doing photos. It's not ideal. It's by no means perfect, but it's so much better than doing a job I hate full time. And it's
Yeah.
it's it's such a gift. And after that, I usually come out much happier. And so yeah, you just gotta like talk to yourself, get to know yourself a little bit better, and yeah.
I remember I had a conversation with Rob even like a couple weeks ago, and it was definitely not the easiest cause, but then just going out of it being like, dude, I'm in such a lucky and grateful position to even do something like this.
Yeah.
It's like,
Bro, you got a podcast. That's
dude,
awesome.
it's fucking
Congratulations.
thank you. I appreciate it. It's
Seriously.
it's
You're
nuts.
doing a
It's
great
nuts.
job
I appreciate it, bro. I
for
mean,
sure.
looking back 5 years ago, what would you tell yourself coming up, and the advice you kind of give yourself or to anyone that wants to be in a position that you are in right now?
Yeah. I think it's like simply put, like learn to be more secure.
Mm-hmm.
Practice being secure, practice being confident. And that comes with what we were just talking about, communication within yourself. And yeah, learn who you are. I think like I would tell myself to sit down and think more and feel more. And do you like, okay, do you want to paint professionally? Because back then I was painting a lot, and I would have like told myself, like paint more, commit more to it, believe you can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Or if it was photos, I would have said like just practice more and read photo, or like you can't really read photo books, but like look at photo books or whatever, like really commit to it, and just and
Mm-hmm.
let yourself commit even when other people are going to school to be whatever dentists, if like that's what they want to do, that doesn't mean that that's what you have to do. And I didn't
Mm-hmm.
always understand that, not that I wanted to be a dentist, but you know what I'm saying, like don't compare yourself to others. That's a cliche, but
Mm-hmm.
really don't.
That's dope. Looking 5 years then ahead, what are some future goals that you have, and how do you imagine yourself like getting there?
Man, one of the goals is probably a continuation of what I just said, learning to be more in tune with myself.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that's like an ever
Growing
that's a
thing.
project project for my whole life. But another one is, I definitely want to travel more. I've traveled a lot, but I haven't spent a ton of time outside of the country.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
would love to travel more, do street photography around the world, meet new people, and the thing is with that, like when you journey somewhere new, there's opportunities that you aren't aware of, or you aren't aware of right now, but they will pop up.
Yeah.
So I don't know, just be more adventurous. Um, Live in other states, live in other countries, and I don't know, just
Experience the world a little bit,
yeah, for sure.
like grow your perspective of everything almost in a way.
Yeah, I'd love to work on painting again or making movies or whatever
Mhm.
kind of I fall into slash I fall in love with. So like, yeah, just exploration. How about
Well,
you?
oh,
I want to ask you that.
damn. Fuck. I'm the host, bro.
Yeah, right.
5 years, bro. I mean, I hope I'm more in tune with myself and kind of like really understand my wants and desires. I think, that could change, but kind of
Bro, I
knowing,
literally just said that, bro.
yeah, I know, but I'm saying it in a
I'm
way
just kidding.
more silky way, bro.
Yeah, you have a silkier voice, so everything you say sounds sick. No,
No,
but sorry, continue. I
I
don't
do
mean to
want to
be.
I do want to just like know everything I want. You know what I mean? Just like really
Mhm,
find out like these are the things I really want to commit myself to. And then after
mhm.
that, kind of just like really, you know, find the avenues at which I can achieve that. And I
Do you
think
think in the future you'd do more podcasts as well?
I mean, I think the things I get to do now and being able to do it is because I love it, in this
Hmm.
moment, and I get to wake up every day. I love to do it. Who knows what 5 years what I'll love to do. But for
Okay,
me
fair.
personally, and the way I kind of like to live is just like every day, what do I really want to do? How can I commit myself to the things I want to do? Doing this, I can commit myself to do it because I love to do it. But, even like 2 years ago, I wanted to do other things and I was like, I'm not gonna, and then I
Hmm.
didn't really love to do it. And it's like gonna always be ever growing and changing. But for me, it's just like putting my feet into things I really love to do and really care about and seeing where that would basically take me. But I would love to continue a podcast like
Yeah,
throughout my
you're good
years.
at it.
I just
I'm
love,
excited to see where you'll be in 30 episodes.
I
Watch your
mean, yeah,
progression.
bro. I love just talking to people like you, just like really get to know you guys. It's like I take that almost like as my own life lessons, basically, which is really fucking dope, honestly.
Definitely.
It's just a
Definitely.
it's just a way for me to learn about so much shit that I've always wanted to learn too. So it's dope.
Yep.
That's basically all I have. Is there anything like people should look forward to from you? Like anything that, in the future people could see from you?
Oh yeah, dude, I want to make a few books before I leave Madison.
Hmm.
I'm working on some clothes right now.
You want to drop the name?
For clothing.
Yeah.
Man. No, no, I don't because I don't know when it's gonna come out, and I don't want someone to jack my idea, bro. Don't jack my idea. No, I'm not fully sure about the names and all that. So
I feel like the ones you've told me and I've really liked so far. It really makes sense and it's like really on brand. But I
sure.
guess
Yeah,
like
okay.
yeah.
So the one that I told you,
Hmm.
because I'm working on a few because I always I guess I always am working on a few things. The one I'm working on currently trying to get the design for, which the design down for, which you should help me out. Is called Ike's
I
Film
would love
Lab.
to help you out,
So
bro. We
yeah,
gotta we
no,
gotta
yeah, it's a
we gotta hang out again and just like sit there and just like do like random shit. We did that one time.
yeah,
That was hilarious. That when we did that, it was so fun.
yeah. You made an awesome design. But yeah, I'm making Ike's Film Lab. So growing up, my nickname was always Ike, and I think the origins of my photography come from
Hmm.
doing film in my kitchen at my mom's house. So an Ike's Film Lab shirt, pants, whatever it might be, it would be super fun. It's kind of a nod to the beginning of my photography
Yeah,
process.
yeah. I mean, that's dope. Where can the people find you? Any other last words from you?
Yeah, you can find me. You can find me on my Instagram, just my name, Isaac Westberg.
Hmm.
And then my website, I just put it up if you want to check it out. It's pretty simple, but I like it.
Boom, right here. I'm kidding.
Yeah, IsaacWestberg.com. And then I got to shout out. Who should we shout out? We
Oh,
go my mom,
shout out your mom.
my
Um, I'm
dad,
I'm gonna shout out Rob for putting us in a great position.
right one.
I'm also gonna shout out my mom. She just booked her trip to Spain, so that's pretty dope.
Where's she
Mhm.
going?
She's going to Barcelona to watch the F1 race.
I was about to say shout out Messi, boy, the goat.
Oh, shout out Messi too. Hope he wins the World Cup.
Dude,
I think after
Argentina all the way.
I think when your episode comes out, the World Cup will already be over though. So hopefully Messi won the
They've
World
already
Cup.
won. They've already
Yeah, they've
won.
already won. It's all right. But
Yep.
yeah, thank you so much, Isaac,
Um,
for doing this with me, man.
Absolutely. Thanks for doing this, bro. Appreciate you, and I will catch you next time.
All right. Peace.
Okay. Peace.
Thank you for tuning into today's episode. Once again, I'm your host, Andrew, and I want to thank Isaac for taking the time to speak with me today, and to Sam Wallner for creating the music you heard on today's episode. If you or any of your friends are curious about how to be a creative in such a business-oriented industry, share with them this episode and use it as a reference that we all have a starting point to grow. You can find me in the shop on Instagram at Andrew Inamoto and at _August Shop. And find August Shop located on 414 State Street, Madison, Wisconsin, or on august-shop.com. Once again, thank you for listening to the August Forum.